Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and today we've got a lot to talk about. Today, there was a blue post on Warlock class changes in regards to Shadowlands Alpha. A lot of changes were highlighted here. Now, these changes are going to be coming in the next Shadowlands Alpha build, which I imagine is probably going to be tomorrow, being Thursday, June 11th. It's about 3 a.m. right now, so I'm filming this technically today. I'm not really sure. But regardless, if you want to see that, shameless plug, feel free to swing by stream. I'll be streaming that the second servers come up. But I want to talk to you guys today about these actual changes and what they mean, my take on them. So look, let's just get right into this. So, now this is the actual Wowhead post here. For the most part, I like every single change here. Hello, in this build of Shadowlands Alpha, we made some changes to Affliction Warlocks based on your feedback. Now, I will say, it says Affliction Warlock here. Pretty much all these changes are to Affliction Warlock or general Warlocks as a whole, meaning like generic class changes. So, prime example here. The first change, let's get right into it. Fel Domination is now a baseline ability learned at level 34 with a 3-minute cooldown. Fel Domination reduces summoning cast time by 5.5 seconds. Keep in mind, our pet summons are indeed 6 seconds long right now in Shadowlands. So, this is actually really funny because I submitted a Warlock feedback Google Doc, as far like on the feedback section of like the alpha forums, all that. Fel Domination was an ability that I highlighted, saying basically, listen, if Blizzard is not willing to give us back, 3-second pet summons, whatever we have now, and they're set on the 6-second pet summon, that Fel Domination is a good middle ground compromise in a sense. I like this ability returning. It's cool. It feels that nostalgic kind of feeling that they're going for with Shadowlands. But I do sort of want to talk about what it means here. Now, they mentioned here summoning your pet shouldn't always be easy, but sometimes you need a new pet in a pinch. Basically meaning, hey, your Voidwalker died, whatever. Your pet died, you died, need a pet out to get back into that trash pack in Mythic Plus. Regardless. The thing here is that Fel Domination does not really do a whole lot when it comes to pet twisting in Mythic Plus, right? For example, let's say you have your Fel Hunter out normally as Affliction, or, okay, let's say Destruction, whatever, and you want him for his Interrupt and his Devour, but you're heading into an Obelisk and you want to actually have your Imps Singe. Well, on live, you can easily summon your pet out like that within a few seconds. If that was a thing in Shadowlands Alpha right now, it takes 6 seconds to do that. The cool thing is, with Fel Domination, you can go from Fel Hunter right to Imp in basically half a second. It'll make it a 0.5 second summon, which is also affected by haste. But the thing is, once you, for example, bring out your Imp, you have to then resummon your Fel Hunter if you want that interrupt back, which is going to be a full 6-second summon. So it's cool seeing this ability return. I like it in a pinch, like they said, because if our Voidwalker dies, we need one back out. That 6-second summon is not going to work. So I like this ability returning overall. If they don't want to change the 6-second summon, okay, this is a good place to start. Moving on here, Curse of Doom has been removed for Affliction and Destruction. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I don't think anybody was very excited about Curse of Doom. And also, spoilers ahead, Curse of Doom is gone for Demonology, in a sense, too. We'll get to that in a little bit here. Curse of Doom is gone. It's gone. It is actually the only curse that deals damage, or was the only curse that deals damage. We have Exhaustion. Well, okay. We have Tongues, Recklessness, Weakness, and Doom. Now we lost Doom, and we have Exhaustion. But Doom was the only curse that actually dealt damage, right? And in similar fashion to how it was before in, like, Classic and Burning Crusade and things, chances are decent if Recklessness and Weakness stay the same way they are right now. You're going to have at least 2 Warlocks in the raid. One putting up Rec, one putting up Weakness. And if there's a third, they're probably going to be applying Doom, as long as it was relevant damage-wise. And the thing is, if it was really relevant, if Doom dealt a lot of damage, then it's going to be a bit unbalanced, unfair in a sense. And hey, I mean, it might not have been an issue in the past, but I imagine Blizzard probably doesn't want that being a thing nowadays. In place of Doom, essentially, we have Curse of Exhaustion, which is learned at level 58 for all 3 specs. It slows the target by half for 8 seconds. So people have been asking for Curse of Exhaustion back over the course of alpha for a while, and there it is. It's pretty cool. Developers know we love Doom, at least the devs do. It makes a handful of people, because as players, I don't know if we do, but it wasn't working with a 60-second period. Also, we felt that Curse of Exhaustion will provide interesting choices when deciding which curse to use. Now, Exhaustion's cool coming back. I think that the Curse of Doom just wasn't really where we wanted to be. It wasn't very suiting in a sense compared to other ones not dealing damage and a few other things as well. The interesting thing here with Curse of Exhaustion, the Revendreth Warlock-based Covenant ability, Impending Catastrophe, currently applies either Weakness or Tongues. It does not apply Recklessness because, I mean, it makes sense, right? It also did not apply Doom. And it doesn't apply Wreck because, hey, if it pops and it puts 8 Recklessness dots out, your tank's probably going to die. But my question here is it going to apply Curse of Exhaustion or have a chance to apply Curse of Exhaustion? As of right now, it's not smart cursing regardless. It puts Tongues on melee mobs and Weakness on casters, but if they fix the smart cursing, or more so give you an option to choose what curse you want to put on all targets, maybe with a Soulbind, I'm going a little bit down the rabbit hole here, but this could be really relevant. Like, this is like a pretty substantial slow for 8 seconds. It's not permanent slow corruption ring, but it's something. So, moving on to Affliction, which is where all the changes are pretty much here. Shadow's Embrace, the talent we currently have, and let me just pull this up here quickly, in this row here, around the 45 row, is now baseline as a part of Shadowbolt, learned at level 52 for Affliction. Shadowbolt for Affliction was falling by the wayside in the rotation. This should encourage Warlocks to use it more often and provide more gameplay when fighting a single target. I don't really know what they're getting at here because Shadowbolt is our filler. I don't know how it's falling by the wayside. I guess if they're referring to people liked it, or I don't really know what this means. Like, it's our filler. We cast it when we need it to. But regardless, tying Shadow's Embrace to Shadowbolt, it's going to... You're essentially going to want to, to maintain your 3 stacks of Shadow's Embrace whenever possible. I imagine this does indeed work with Drain Soul when you take it as a talent because it replaces Shadowbolt, and Drain Soul does stack Shadow's Embrace a bit faster because it stacks with each incremental tick of Drain Soul, not one full channel. But regardless, you have that 9% bonus damage amp baked into either Shadowbolt or Drain Soul, which is your filler in a sense, which is helpful because moving on here, there's a lot of changes to Unstable Affliction. Now, I'm going to say these Unstable Affliction changes are very vague, and they sort of, you'll see what I'm saying. Unstable Affliction no longer has a limit of 1, and no longer amplifies damage on your target. So basically what I interpret this as is, hey, technically we can stack Unstable Affliction on a target like we can on live right now, and it no longer has the 10% damage increase here, like this tooltip says. This is actually an outdated tooltip, or the one we see on Alpha right now. The next change here. Unstable Affliction's backlash on Dispel is increased substantially. PvP, I suppose, more so. At level 56, Unstable Affliction is ranked up to gain an additional 5 seconds of duration. So this makes me wonder, because currently on Alpha, this is the current tooltip for Unstable Affliction, UA is a 16-second dot. So I don't know if this means UA is now a 21-second dot, or is baseline 11 but goes to 16 at level 56. I think that's probably the case. Regardless, I mean, it probably does make a bit of a difference. We'll get into that in a little bit here. But regardless, I don't know. They weren't very clear on this. Developers note this is more of an experimental change than the rest, but we feel that UA is not meeting player expectations at a limit of 1. Yes, that was direct feedback we gave from the Google Doc we all submitted. This change allows Affliction to focus more on spreading dots to many targets at once. Multi-dotting. That's Affliction. Awesome. So far the changes to UA. No longer has a limit of 1. No longer has 10% damage amp on it. Deals a lot more damage when dispelled, and has a much longer duration. Pretty interesting here, right? So moving on, Corruption now ranks up at level 54 to gain an initial period, dealing 0.12 coefficient damage instantly. So the way I'm interpreting this, I'm pretty sure this is just like Shadow Word Pain. It has initial damage whenever you apply Corruption to a mob. Now, I talked about a little bit about this on stream, and we don't know the answer because the build is not out yet for Alpha. We think it's probably coming out tomorrow or Friday. My question here is, if you cast Seed of Corruption and the seed pops, obviously Seed Corruption is going to deal the damage that it deals. But when those corruptions are applied, do those corruptions also deal damage to each target they're applied to? Or is it only corruptions that are cast by the Warlock, not popping by Seed of Corruption that deal damage? So I don't know about that. It's cool. But adding the initial cast impact damage is cool. I like it. It's a cool, subtle little change. And if it works with Seed, it's actually going to be a lot more relevant. But regardless, moving on. Writhe and Agony now also causes Agony to start at 4 stacks, in addition to increasing its maximum stacks to 18. So this is like, I'm on alpha right now in the background. Agony has had the 18 stack increase since like early alpha. However, the change is sort of like having sudden onset built into it in a sense. It's not a further amplification to its damage, but it now starts at 4 stacks. This is pretty cool. Having the actual Writhe and Agony talent selected means that it has to stack 8 more times compared to having Absolute Corruption or Siphon Life, because normal Agony caps out at 10. However, Writhe will cap out at 18. So having it start at 4 is relevant. It's probably needed, honestly, but it's cool. I like this change. Here's the big one, though, boys. New talent, Inevitable Demise. This is indeed ID from BFA right now. Damaging an enemy with Agony increases the damage of your next drain life by 5%. This effect stacks up to 50 times. Okay, that was suggested in the Google Doc as well. I did not think we'd get it. This is interesting because it also has some implications with the Ardenweald Nightfall Warlock ability Soul Rot, that puts a dot on your target and, like, I believe up to 3 other surrounding mobs, and it's an 8-second dot, I believe. And over the duration of that dot, you can cast Drain Life on one target, and it will drain life from all those targets, and it deals increased damage. So we don't know how ID is going to affect Soul Rot. In the end, we have to just wait and see what the alpha build brings. If it does work with Soul Rot, it's probably going to be a tuning nightmare. My thought is that it's probably going to affect maybe the one target you actually like cast your initial drain life on and not the others, or it might not work at all. We don't know. We got to see. But it's pretty cool. Another change here. Nightfall now activates slightly more often as corruption spreads to more targets. This is exactly what I hit on in the Google Doc. And by the way, I'll put a link to this Google Doc that I posted on Twitter and sent into like dev feedback and all that a few months ago in the channel or in this video's description. It's also on my Twitter if you want to hop on there and look on my Twitter. It's pinned there. But regardless, this is legitimately exactly what I highlighted in the feedback, the Google Doc. Previously, Nightfall was not occurring more often as you spread corruption to multiple targets. This felt counterintuitive. That's actually the wording that I use. So we added functionality to increase its rate with multiple corruptions. Similar to Agony, its increase is not linear, but you will see more Nightfalls multi-target. I don't think the wording here is great, but regardless. Basically, having more corruptions active now gives you more Nightfall instant cast Shadowbolt procs. And keep in mind, Nightfall also increases the damage of Shadowbolt, the ones that are instant cast. So this is really cool. This is a really good change. This is really good. I'm a huge fan of this change. So I also want to say, by the way, that just because I say I gave feedback on things, it's not just me. The feedback that I gave was a culmination of feedback I gotten from people on stream, on YouTube, the Warlock Discord. I'm just referring to it as my Google Doc. It's on my Twitter. But it wasn't just me. This is like everyone's feedback. And it's really cool seeing the devs actually take it into account. So you might be wondering, if you haven't read ahead here, which you probably have, but where is Inevitable Demise going to be in our talent row? It's a new talent. Death Bolt is now a PvP talent, thank God. It's gone. It's gone. I don't think the devs have been happy with Death Bolt. I don't think any players have been happy with Death Bolt. It's gone. It's gone, and it's great. Maybe somebody's going to hate me in the comments for this. I'm sorry. It's gone. Inevitable Demise, from what I can see here, takes the place of Death Bolt in the first row. So with UA, oh, by the way, this also is something I want to talk about here. The developer's notes, with Unstable Affliction stacking gone, the instant burst single target damage from this felt more appropriate as a PvP talent to act as a finisher. I get this, and we'll get to that in a minute. Note here, with Unstable Affliction stacking gone, is what they say. Unstable Affliction no longer has a limit of 1. So, I said I'd come back to this. what I think this change means is that it still stacks to 1 on one target, but you can have multiple iterations of Unstable Affliction rolling on multiple targets at once, which is probably as to why they removed the damage amp with the increased duration that it has. So there's a lot of questions that still surround UA, which is why the wording's so vague here. We just don't know. Because currently, Unstable Affliction does not even cost a soul shard on alpha, but it generates a soul shard if the target dies. Well, if that dot lasts 21 seconds and you can roll a UA on 5 targets in Mythic Plus, and they're all going to die within that time frame, you're going to go into each pack with 5 shards to fuel Raptures and Vile Taints and See the Corruption. It's like our damage this dude, like, AF just looks really, really good. It'll all come down to tuning and numbers and that in the end, but it looks really good. Going back to what we're talking about, though, Deathbolt is now a PvP talent. So in the first row here, you're going to have improved Nightfall with corruption scaling, proc scaling, whatever. You're going to have Drain Soul still, which is going to have Shadow's Embrace tied into it. And then you're going to have Inevitable Demise right here. So my gut feeling is that it's totally going to depend on tuning. But just looking at the actual damage profiles and what they do, Drain Soul is probably going to be your go-to here. So whoever wanted Drain Soul back as your filler, congratulations. At least right now, it seems, just thinking logically, it seems like it will be our choice here. Right? You have the Execute clause built into it baseline. It's also affected by Decimating Bolt, which is the Maldraxxus Warlock ability, which does amplify the actual Execute even further, and it stacks Shadow's Embrace a little faster than Shadow Bolt. In the end, like, they could buff Nightfall, and it could be our best talent regardless, and go from there. But I feel like they might, it depends on the proc rate and actual damage and things, but I feel like Drain Soul has a better chance of being our single target option. And ID is obviously great in multi-dot scenarios, council-based fights, but I mean, it's okay, it's fine single target, but you get so much more value with 2 targets, 3 targets, 4 targets. So there's that. The real question is, what do you play in Mythic Plus? And the answer is, I have no idea. Gotta wait on tuning. But man, I want to get in some dungeons on alpha. Really cool changes here, but we're not done. There's still some really awesome changes coming up here. So, Tongue-Tied has been removed. Replaced, let's go up here. Replaced with Howl of Terror. Howl of Terror is something that I cited in this Google Doc as well. Like, Tongue-Tied feels really out of place, right? I mean, it's basically like a PvP talent that's in this row that took the place of Demonic Circle. You have Mortal Coil, which is like a fear/incapacitate. You have Dark Fury. They both have PvE and PvP implications. This really doesn't. Let's be real here. It felt like it was supposed to be a PvP talent that they just stuck in this row. It felt so out of place. Well, Howl of Terror is back. There have been so many times I've wanted Howl of Terror in BFA right now. And I'm like, why is it gone? It just disappeared. It's back. It's so great. Fears 5 targets within 10 yards for 20 seconds. Has a 1.5 second cast time and a 40-second cooldown. So this is cool. Someone did say that somewhere they saw they're moving Tongue-Tied to a PvP talent. That makes sense to me. I don't see it anywhere here, but hey, whatever. If they do, awesome. Now, there's not. You might also be wondering, well, okay, Shadow's Embrace is baseline. What's here? There's a hole here. The very first thing that I cited in that Google document, the very first thing, before we even got into specs, was 3-minute Dark Lair and Infernal cooldowns feel really bad in Mythic Plus. New talent, Dark Caller, in place of Shadow's Embrace. Reduces the cooldown of Summon Dark Lair by 1 minute. Developers note, this talent should allow Warlocks to specialize further into keeping dots or lots of dots on many targets at once and give them more room to use Malefic Rapture, which is our new soul shard spender in that window. Dude, this is a great change. In this row here, it also gives you some choices. Obviously, Grimoire of Sacrifices, I not really played. I would love to see this go back to like a baseline spell power increase. I would, but as of right now, like, whatever. Haunt, though. The interesting thing here is that it sort of seems like they want Dark Caller, which is the Dark Lair reduction, to sort of be what we take in council fights, Mythic Plus, Cleave, stuff like that. And Haunt is our single target ability. And that makes sense, right? The really interesting thing here, though, at the same time, is that Dark Caller gives you a baseline 2-minute Dark Lair. It's not 220 like we have with VOP right now, or 208 with VOP and Dreadful Calling combination. It's 2 minutes. What else is a 2-minute cooldown that we hold for our Dark Lair on live right now? Dark Soul. This gives you a perfect sync with your Dark Soul and your Dark Lair every time. Now, this could change. They could change Dark Soul. We don't really know. But as of right now, it's really good. It's a good. It syncs very well. So, yes, Haunt is probably, like, in their mind, our single target talent in this row here. This is more like, I guess, I don't really know what they want to do with Grimoire. I don't know. And they want, like, Dark Caller to maybe be, like, a middle ground. But honestly, depending on, like, haunts and the tuning and things, like, it might just be like Dark Calling or Dark Caller in general, you know. Another thing that's pretty cool, or that was needed to happen, the damage removal, the bonus 10% damage amp from Unstable Affliction is gone, obviously. It needed to go because UA and Haunt felt very, very similar, with UA being limited to one target. They felt very similar. So now they feel different again, which is good. I'm still not a huge fan of this current form of Haunt, but whatever. So, some PvP talents. Soul Shatter removes all corruptions, dealing 10% of their maximum health or HP, and grants haste, stacking up to 5 times. Lasts 15 seconds and is magic dispellable. There you go. I don't PvP a whole lot, but the changes are pretty much here. Funny thing, boys. Deathbolt now deals 60% damage equal to the remaining duration of your dots. It has a 0.5 second cast time and a 45 second cooldown. Man, I honestly, like, I loved Deathbolt in its initial form in BFA Alpha Beta. Man, like, whatever it is now, like, it's been nerfed 10 times. Dark Lair's been nerfed. UA's been nerfed. Dots duration extension has been nerfed. Like, they even nerfed, like how much dots can contribute to Deathbolt. Like, in its current form, just put it out to pasture, which is PvP. Just put it over there. It'll go away eventually. It'll go away. I'm so excited, man. Just that. Okay, being real, like, I'm impartial to Deathbolt, but, like, having ID back in this row is insane, man. It's so good. It's so cool. Amplified Curse now affects Curse of Exhaustion, causing it to slow the target by 70% instead of the 50% slow that Exhaustion brings baseline. So that's pretty cool. Now, one more thing. I did say that Curse of Doom was gone. It's gone across the board. It's gone for every spec. Curse of Doom is gone. However, Doom is, I guess, essentially back for Demonology. I don't know if you want to call it back, but I mean, Curse of Doom reverted to Doom with damage increased. This is interesting because we don't really know what this means. Once again, when we get alpha tomorrow, or an updated build tomorrow or Friday, whenever, we'll know. But there's this new talent here, Improved Curse of Doom. It's a passive. Curse of Doom now deals an additional 100% damage. The period is reduced by 50, and Doomguard summoned by the Curse of Doom are now its slave. It doesn't make a difference because it doesn't work like that, but regardless, we don't know if this is going away and Doom is just being put in this row, because Doom is a talent right now in this row. This is literally Doom for Demonology right now. This is where you get Doom. Nobody plays it. But if Doom goes baseline and they leave Improved Curse of Doom and they change it to Improved Doom, Doom will have a 12.5 second duration affected by haste, dealing a lot of extra damage. They're saying they're buffing the damage here, and it's increased even more here by an additional 100%. I don't know how tuning is going to be, but it very well could make Doom, like, relevant in this row. You know, it very well could. Or then again, they could just, you know, hey, put Doom baseline and put Baleful Invocation in this row. Because, hey, they did it with ID, so they have no excuse now. But realistically, we don't know much about this. We'll find out more whenever we get the next alpha build, but these changes are awesome. I'm going to be real, like, I'm not angry about any change here. I don't PvP a whole lot, so I sort of skipped over this, but I mean, for those of you guys who do, if you want to give me your feedback on them in the comments, let me know. I never played with Soul Shatter in PvP, but yeah. Like, the changes are really good. They're really, really good. The Fel Domination change is across every spec. It doesn't really, affect or change the way Demonology is with no interrupt, because you can pull the Fel Hunter out, click the interrupt, but then you're casting your Fel Guard again for 6 seconds, you know. Doom being gone is a good thing. We talked about that. Exhaustion is fine. Cool. Awesome. Shadow's Embrace being baked into Shadowbolt or Drain Soul is really cool here too. I think it sort of raises the skill cap, the skill ceiling a bit, if you're playing with Drain Soul especially, because, like, you technically, it's much, much easier to juggle Shadow's Embrace on 2 targets. if you're playing Drain Soul. Because Drain Soul stacks it with each incremental tick, and there's like 4 or 5 depending on haste levels through a Drain Soul channel. You can drain one target on a council fight, swap to the other, stack it to 3, swap back, and try and maintain those stacks. Now, realistically, it doesn't happen a whole lot because you have a lot going on, a lot to balance, but it's a thing. I like it. Something to take away here, though, boys, is that if you think Affliction has a lot of keybinds now, we have Agony, Corruption, Siphon Life, Vile Taint or Singularity, Unstable Affliction, Malefic Rapture, Haunt, your Curse if you're juggling it or whatever. What else am I forgetting here? Drain Life if you're playing Inevitable Demise. That's 9. And, I mean, I feel like I'm forgetting a dot here. Something, right? You have like 8 to 9 things. Oh, Shadow's Embrace stacks. You have like 8, 9, 10 things you have to juggle. And it's more so on a single target fight. I mean, you can make a case for it in AoE and Mythic Plus. Essentially, it's the same thing, just you're not playing, you know, Siphon Life. But I like how this feels. I do. I think the actual duration extension of Unstable Affliction will go a long way too. And like I said, we still don't know if it's going to give us a shard back when these targets die. If they do, Afflictions Toolkit looks really, really good right now. I like it. Every single change here, I like. Like, this is literally like they took the best feedback they were given and went, here, you want it, have it, go. There's not one change here I'm mad about. There really isn't. There really isn't. Yeah, it's just good. It's just good. So, if Unstable Affliction remains in its current form, like it is on Alpha right now, I mean, you're probably going to go into each... Oh, it's 11 abilities because you're Covenant ability. KW. But you can go into like most Mythic Plus trash packs with 3, 4, 5 shards. Ready to go. Vile Taint, Seed of Corruption, bam, just start cranking out these Raptures. Roll your UAs because UA doesn't cost a soul shard anymore. And then go into that next pack. Drain Soul them down. Dump your ID Drain Life. Like, dude, this is going to be crazy. It all depends on tuning, right? But I'm so excited to get into this on stream tomorrow in Torghast or whatever and just go from there. There were no real changes to Destruction or Demonology. Now, barring the Doom change. I think that'll change long term. They said they wanted to focus on Affliction. And to be fair, like, Affliction had a lot of questions that needed to be answered. What's going on with Dark Lair? What's going on with Deathbolt? Because the changes to UA, now stacking, and everything affect both of them a lot. What else is going on with its toolkit? Like, well, there's a million things here. So they took this opportunity to address both, like, the Fel Domination, general Curse of Doom changes, exhaustion, and then go into Aff here. I would not be surprised at all if we see a post talking about Demonology or Destruction, because they both probably need a little bit here. To be fair, I think Deathstroke's in a fine spot, but just because it's in a fine spot doesn't mean it shouldn't be looked at. Let's be real here. Deathstroke's been the same for 3 expansions, maybe 4 if you just consider Shards, Burning Embers, which they were. But this is really good. Like, I'm not like being a fanboy. These changes are awesome. They're really good. I haven't really seen anything negative on them yet. I like them. I like them a lot. So I think it's about it, guys. Once again, these changes are not live on Alpha right now, but when they are, whether it's tomorrow or Friday, I'll be streaming them. Feel free to swing by stream. There's a link somewhere down here below. Grab all my Weak Auras profiles that are available to you for free there as well. Drop a follow, hang out, watch the stream. Let me know what you guys think of these changes in the comment section below. Once again, I know, but look at me. Look at me. I know Demonology still doesn't not have an interrupt. I know people aren't happy with Destruction in Demonology. I know that. I'm just talking about the change we've gotten here. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I think there'll be Demonology and Destruction changes. I'm not let me know about these changes, okay? I love you guys, but let me know. Yeah, if you have any questions, drop them down there too. I'm happy to help. And I will see you guys again soon on stream. Peace.